welcome back to the podcast. You are watching What's Going On Colorado, and I am your host, Amber Turner.
And I am Ryan Evans. I'm the other guy. How you doing?
Hey, as you can see, school is still out because my kids are in the background.
I like how he just roaming around. I left my socket in somewhere. I'm going to find it.
Hey, I'm doing a podcast right now, okay? So when does school start? Monday. That's right. Okay. But anyways, you guys, welcome to the podcast. And yes. I'm super excited. First of all, before we talk about reinventing ourselves and we get into the topic for this discussion, do you have anything going on here in Colorado, Ryan?
As always, I always shout out 3E's Comedy Club out in Colorado Springs. We are ready to open, but COVID says just slow down just a little bit.
Okay.
And it's only a little bit. We only had to back up just pretty much a week, being that we had no idea how many people we can have in the building until actually today.
Really?
So, yeah, it was kind of still up for grabs for a second. So, September 24th is the day we're going to open. It's downtown Colorado Springs. 3E's Comedy Club. Come and laugh. I run a monthly in Parker. It's called Ryan Evans Presents Comedy Night. We just had that happen on Saturday night with some awesome comics that came out and delivered. Great audience. Parker is a great spot to perform. But I also announced on that night we're going to be starting another comedy show every Monday night in Parker, downtown Parker at the studio of Main Street. We're going to be doing Making Laughs Monday. We're going to start that on the 31st because a lot of people in Parker have been asking how can they get on stage. Well, this is your opportunity. You can come and sign up and I will definitely put you up. August 31st, we're going to be doing that from 7 to 9 at the very same place Ryan Evans Presents Comedy Night is going to be at. It's the studio of Main Street, downtown Parker. Monday nights, Making Laughs Monday. If you think you're funny, come on down.
So the criteria is if you think you're funny, so I can just show up. Yeah,
yeah, you can show up. I'll tell you this, how I'm going to do it because, I want people to, sometimes you go to open mics and you get that feeling like, oh, God, no one's good here. I don't want people to feel like that. And I'm not even calling it an open mic. It's like a pop-up sign-up show. So it will be comics that are booked, paid, and will give you definite laughs. But I also want everybody to experience comedy. A lot of people ask for classes and everything out in Parker. So this is my way of kind of, okay, let's see if you really want to do comedy. And then maybe we can start some classes after. But I know around Colorado, period, not too many places to perform. A lot of places haven't been able to come back. So hopefully this will be something that everybody takes a liking to. And, yeah, you're welcome. I hope you come down, Amber.
I was so kidding.
I got one more thing. I got another show in Denver on the 20th next week, Thursday the 20th at 8 o'clock. It's called Comedy in the Backyard. It's going to be at the Ironton Distillery in Denver. I'm going to be a headliner. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh, okay. Congratulations. Sounds fun.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it should be. You just come, put your blanket down or bring your chairs and just have a good time.
I need like classes. I would love, the thing about like stand up, it's like, I know a lot of people that are funny and they're told all the time that they should be a stand up comedian, but it's so hard because it's like situational funny. And then there's like, you have to tell a story. And I love listening to a story, but there's not a lot of people that can tell good stories.
Yeah, I mean, comedy is a tough business because it's one of the few, I would say, that you instantly, feel it, either you feel acceptance or you feel get the hell off the stage, and it's instant and it's, you'll know instantly, you'll know right then. It won't be a question afterwards.
Yeah.
So I like it because of that, but it does make it so, when I step off the stage, I don't like when people beat around the bush. Like, tell me yes, no, let me hear it now.
Yeah.
I have so much anxiety on callbacks. Like, just give me the job. Yes or no.
But speaking of that, So in this show, we want to talk about like reinventing yourselves, right? And
Yes,
so like
yes.
in situations where things happen, whether you're going through a challenging time, some sort of transition, breakup, and in this case, like something to do with your career where maybe you had like a mess up, like how the importance of reinventing yourself when it comes to your career. And I know that like, because to me it's a way to level up, especially if you go through some sort of challenge like a breakup, some sort of life challenge. It's a way to
Hmm.
really like take a step back and evaluate where you want to go and reinvent yourself. That's going to help you get to that place. And even when it comes to your career, I know a lot of artists do this all the time, especially when they're trying to level up and stay innovative and stay on their craft, is reinvention, like reinventing yourself. So that's where what I want to talk about in this podcast. Has there
Okay.
ever been like a situation where, because we were talking prior to this recording, is that, you moved around a lot, and so you
Mhm.
had the opportunity to really like, hey, I want to reinvent myself and change up my style or change up who I am and stuff like that. And how has that benefited you in your life?
Well, I mean, first, it's not necessarily. I don't like to use when we're talking about reinventing. It's not like a change. It's more to me a growth. It's something that's who you are, what you're about. You're
Yeah.
not necessarily changing that, but you're expounding it, expanding it, highlighting it. And maybe what you were highlighting previously wasn't something that, or maybe what you were highlighting previously, you've grown to exponentially to a point where it's like to that ceiling until you grow some other portion or some other facet of yourself. And it's hard to step back and realize that because it's a critical look at yourself. And most people are unable to do that. But in order to have longevity, you got to be able to roll with the punches. Nothing stays the same.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg is not the same. I don't care what you kids think. Snoop Dogg, listen to the first album, and you'll understand. Snoop Dogg was a different person,
Yeah.
but he's been able to. He's a prime example of reinvention. He's been able to keep his self the same through time. Nothing has really changed about him, but he's grown with the climate, the waves of what we are going through, even still today. He probably got a COVID rhyme coming out right now. You know what I mean? And it's just that's how you stay on your toes. You don't necessarily change it's the exact word, reinvent. You are here and you just don't know how necessarily to continue to be in the field that you're in or in a relationship or whatever, or in a breakup, like you said. Things have changed, so you have to change with them. You have to not change. You have to grow with them and adapt with them, and I think that's reinvention is important.
Yeah.
Most people cannot stay the same in entertainment. You have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, because you'll get stuck. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing, is that, and I love how you said it's about growth. It's about
Hmm.
leveling up. It's because it's like we don't want to get stuck. And I think that sometimes reinvention can have like a negative connotation to it. Like people are like, well, I am who I am. And but it's like
Love
you
me or
said,
hate me how I am. It's like, I mean, what are you here for then? As far as I'm
yeah,
an entertainer, so and like we were talking about as far as like comedy, I get it straight up, So that's how I try to give it back because it's made me, I wouldn't say necessarily a stronger person, but I definitely will hold on to the word wiser when I'm
mm-hmm,
thinking about those experiences. So, if you're not necessarily trying to grow with what you're doing, it's going to be very hard to keep audiences. It's going to be very hard to, maybe you're good now, but the audience that travels with you through time, through your aging, they're aging too. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
That's great, but after a while, they're not coming out. They got bad hips, things like that. And you should have been reaching to these younger people as well,
Yeah,
expounding and reinventing yourself so you have them, but you can also have them as well.
yeah,
Longevity.
yeah. And I think it's so important. You see this a lot when it comes to business, especially. because people can adopt this mindset. This is how we always done it. This is how we've always been. And you're not growing with the times. You're like, even I always go to Beyonce and I think about like the songs that they start, Bugaboo, Bills, 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 the songs that they started off with in the beginning, and now where she's at, and she's not talking about can you pay my bills. She's not
Beyonce
talking about
doesn't.
that anymore.
She doesn't do those things. Are her past. She's her past. She was a kid then, and she don't even dress like that. Her mama don't pick out her outfits no more. She's a grown
Yeah.
she's a grown married woman with kids, with mortgages, with different lifestyle choices that she's made that made her who she is today. But she's no different from the same Beyonce that did want you to pay her bills.
Mm-hmm.
She's the same person who wrote those lyrics and sung them to you before. She's just grown. She's just elevated herself with the times.
Yeah,
Can't knock
absolutely.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have to think about it as expansion. And I think that, like, I just did the video on reinventing yourself after a breakup or a huge challenge.
Wait, where did you do that video at? Could you tell everyone, Amber? Where is that video?
Oh, on YouTube. It's not on YouTube yet. I have to edit it and stuff.
Where will it be at, Amber? Shout out to
on
YouTube. What's your YouTube channel?
Excuse me?
Well, your YouTube channel.
What is
my how can people find your stuff on YouTube? Just type in Amber?
Yeah, Amber Turner, I guess.
Okay. We're going to get Amber straight and get her own YouTube page pretty soon. But until then, Amber Turner on YouTube. Look up her stuff, man, for real.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Gotta roll with the punches. You gotta grow.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I think I forget exactly what I was saying.
I'm sorry. That was rude.
Okay. I just lost my train of thought, but
well, it was still on the line of reinventing yourself and growing. Yeah. We know that.
Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, yes, I remember now. Like when you go through like something dramatic, whether it's in your career or your personal life, it really takes you to really do a lot of self-discovery and self-reflection to be able to reinvent yourself. Because when you're reinventing yourself, you see a vision of who you want to be. And so you have to do that like self-reflection, like, okay, I've gone through, what have I learned from this? I've gone through this like huge transition or huge thing in my career. What can I take from this, and how can I take it moving forward in my reinvention of myself? And so it's important to actually do that inner work, asking deep questions. And I talk about this in my book, is like asking the deep questions of like, why did I even go through that perhaps? And how can I not have to go through that again? And that person that I'm reinventing myself, how can I avoid that kind of thing? And how can I make my life amazing? And, all of these things. So it really takes you to really take a deep dive into who you are, to really build yourself from there, to reinvent yourself as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of soul searching, a lot of personal looks in the mirror, like you're saying. It is a lot of looking around also at others, like you brought up Beyonce. You're not just, I guess we're making it sound like just crying in the bathroom by yourself. It's not like that. It is a lot that you take from your experiences, but it is a lot, you can not necessarily take from other people, but you can use for example in your own life. Like, I always use Kevin Hart when I'm talking to comedians. He's a great example for exactly what we're talking about, the reinvention, because we all saw Soul Plane way too early. and in Hollywood, that's a bomb. They don't work with you no more after that. That movie did nothing in the theaters. No money was recouped. But everybody who watched it knew Kevin Hart's name by then. And that was for free. So the next project he did after it, he knocked out the park. So on and so forth. It leads to the Kevin Hart you see today. So what I'm saying is that defeat could have been it for Mr. Hart. That could have been it. I bet some people thought so. But the reinvention is, okay, I'm moving in my life still. I think he got married around that time and everything. Had kids, you know, those growths you could start seeing implemented into his career, as far as his comedy, as far as his whole swag and how he approached things, you know. To have that, I mean, think about this. Think about what you have to do to reinvent yourself after Soul Plane. Like, this is your coming out party. And it's like, nah. You know, we got the address wrong. Sorry, you at the wrong place. And it's like you have to sit there in Hollywood and not necessarily take that, but you have to still move forward. I still want to work with this company. I still want to work with this network. I still want to push my brand forward. But right now, that brand is a little shaky.
Mm-hmm.
So without changing myself and who I am to the core, to the bone, I have to reinvent myself from this spot here, which would seemingly be negative, but is actually the actual major pivot point in his career. You know, so you have to keep rolling, and that it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
But you have to also know when those times come. It's time to kind of, I can't keep doing this. I got to switch it up a little bit too. You know,
Yeah.
that takes some soul searching as well.
Yeah. And timing is everything. And I think that that's
Mm-hmm.
really important. I think we oftentimes, whether it's in our personal life or our career, we get to a point where it's like, okay, this is not working,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And
Not
so,
so much for comics. Comics keep going. I wish some of them would quit, but they keep going.
well, I mean, even so, it's like understanding um, that I need to change something about myself. That's not really not so much the core of you, because
No,
if you think about some of the things that we do and some of the things that how we express ourselves, is it us or is it someone else? You
I
know?
think it's us to a degree. I think everything, all the reinventing, all the painstaking time we take to look at ourselves, all of it, even the stuff we're doing in our careers, is all a measurement of our within. We're trying to figure out what that core is. So little by little, day by day, year by year, from gaga goo goo, learning how to walk, to the day that we are standing in today, we still are learning each other, no
Mhm.
matter what. You know,
That's
well,
true.
ourselves and how we are interacting with each other. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
varies. You know
Yeah.
how it is. You go to work like, "Hi, Tom. How's it going?" Yeah, that ain't how you talk. That ain't how you talk. You reinvent yourself every day. It look like, now that I put that on the table.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, that is true. And like, and now that you say that, it's almost like we do reinvent ourselves depending on the environment too.
Look
You
how
know?
deep we getting. Per situation, you do kind of, you have to stay on your toes, and you do kind of reinvent yourself. If a situation provides that it needs someone to be kind of bizarre or whatever in the situation, yeah, I don't know too many people who would not. So yeah,
Right.
I think that's well said. You reinvent uh, often. I'll say, maybe not daily for some, but often, per situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
very well said, and that's
I,
more insight. We got, you even got deeper today.
yeah. And like for me, I'm always constantly, even probably too much, taking like self inventory of like do, and like, how do I want to present myself and how do I want people, honestly, how I want people to feel when they hear the things that I say, or how they feel when they're around me. And so just like that self inventory is so important. Because I know,
Yes.
like for me, going through the things that I've gone through as of recently, with it, personal and business,
Hmm.
it's just like I gotta do something different. This is not working. And I'm just really in a point where I'm like, I really gotta do a lot. I mean, it's not even like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like reinvention is like at the forefront of my mind. I'm being so inarticulate right now, but
No, no. I
you
think you're
know,
stumbling upon something great. I think when we have setbacks, we think of our failures, that word kind of echoes in our minds. And I think sometimes we think of our immortality, like, we're still growing in time and in age, but those things we hope to have accomplished, done, set in stone, they'll have to go over again. Sometimes we have to. And I think what you're talking about and what you're coming to in your personal as well as your business life is more, you're thinking about legacy. You're thinking about, what am I leaving here? What is the purpose of this relationship? What is the purpose of that relationship? On what I'm leaving here, more than I just want to do something, anything. And it's more of a pinpoint. And what we spoke about earlier is, no matter what it is, whether it's business or personal, it's always working on your inner self. So even though you could be talking about business and you're talking about what I'm doing in this business realm, maybe there's a setback or whatever, the things that you're going to pull from that will possibly help your business, but moreover, it'll contribute to the finding that core that we're talking about, of knowing yourself a little better. I feel that's why I think they, especially older people, always got to tell you, the setbacks are just setups for a better day. And it's just like, hallelujah, but I feel set back today. Always understand that is the actual truth. The old people have got something, they got wisdom.
Yeah.
It's the actual truth. You can make that pivotal point and reinvent yourself from any setback.
I'll have to hire you as my life coach, Ryan. I think you have a calling.
My mama used to say, my mom was a pastor. You're like, you need to get up there and say something. I'm like,
really?
no, I'll be cussing.
Oh, your mom's a pastor?
Yeah, she was. My mom passed a couple of years ago, but she was a pastor. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Here's who I am. My mom's a pastor. My dad's a ex-hustler. The only hustler I know to retire. So, yes. So I think what's the thing with me is that I got, good experience. I got kind of best of both worlds. I've grown up in the city. I've grown up in the country. Like I said, my parents and my different upbringings in these different places, moving around, kind of, not necessarily made me a rounded guy, but I like to put myself in people's shoes. I'm not the most outgoing, probably considered an introvert, but, you can't really tell because of what I like to put on people. Once I know the shoes you're walking in, I'll find you and I'll make you laugh. That's my joy.
Really cool. You don't seem like an introvert to me at all.
I don't like people whatsoever. No, I love people. It's just, it's like people in groups, tend to have strong opinions one way or another way. And what's your opinion? And I'm not here for that. I'm not here. Like, even when you look on my Facebook, my social media, all you'll see is work. It's not like you're going to see my personal life. I'm not here for that. I need you as an entertainer to pay for that. Number one. But number two is just, people are different nowadays than when I was growing up. And, you never know what people are on. I'm not necessarily fearful of people, but I understand legacy, like we're talking about. And I have a lot more at stake. So I'm very cautious. Maybe I should say that. Mm-hmm. So I love people. Please keep paying to see me. But I'm very cautious around people because I have a lot at stake.
Yeah. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to get around because as much as like you want to connect with people and be like, feel authentic, mm-hmm. It does leave you open to people being mean, really.
He left the door open.
Because like, I feel like even like knowing, I think of like Oprah or something, that's someone that like I look up to. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I feel like a lot of people can resonate with her is that we know her story and how she's overcome and we can connect with her on that level. But it's almost so hard to be able to establish that kind of connection with people because you are scrutinized for every single thing that you say. And you know that I didn't mean anything by it, but you just want to be offended. And one of the things that Wayne Dyer says in one of his talks is that some people just wake up looking for ways to be offended. that brings them joy. They look for
Yeah.
ways just to be offended. And why can't you come from a place of understanding and compassion? I'm like, okay, obviously they didn't mean anything by it, but you know what I mean? So that's a hard thing because you want
It's
to be able
very,
to
very
connect with
easy.
people.
You do. You want to connect with people, but you know, once you wrap your mind around, you know, balance, good and evil, bad and good, yin and yang, all of these things. Once you wrap your mind around it, it has to exist. If
Yeah,
I'm going to be this good, there has to be somebody just as equally on the other side. So
yeah,
eventually, we're going to, like magnets, eventually you have to find something or someone that is just that. But when they come hard, like they're like, oh yeah, I don't like your books, I don't like your YouTube page and stuff like that, you have to really like, I must be doing something. My
yeah,
magnitude is attracting such the opposite of what I am, that I must be that much more of a positive thing on the other side. And I say that even though, you know, my weekend has been tested by different things that have been approaching me. And I try my best to be what you see, a nice guy. But everybody's not going to see it, accept it that way. And one of your words, receive it that way.
that's so profound. That is so. I never thought about it that way. But I have been studying like polarity and that kind of thing, and I just find it really fascinating. But yeah, that was very interesting that you said about the magnitude and stuff, and I truly believe that because I'm a big fan of this book. It's called Conversations with God, and it talks about how you can't experience love without fear. Like you wouldn't know what that feels like if you hadn't experienced the opposite. It's a law
Mm-hmm.
of polarity, really, but like having those encounters, even though it sucks, but you understand from like an expanded mind that it has to exist for love to exist. So you know what love feels like. So yeah, that's true.
You won't know you even care about somebody until they're not there. To the that you don't realize it until they're not there. You know, and then
Yeah.
once they're not there, you're like, oh, I guess I did kind of like them a little bit more than I thought. You
Yeah.
know, so I think that's the basis of that. You know, you gotta have it. Otherwise, you won't truly understand it. You won't understand what a good day truly is without living through a bad one.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We are so wise. Look at us.
Oh, you are. I need to have you as my life coach.
I mean, you see this house, you won't. Like Ryan definitely does not have it all together.
But I think this was a great conversation. I think that is
Yes.
important. I think it's important to really. Oh man. Oh man.
The alpha male walking around like I just want everybody to see me. I've been working out.
Usually he's like, I don't want to be on camera. But I think it's important to like I said in the beginning is to reinvent yourself and actually do that self-discovery and actually like create whoever you want to be. Like that's the beauty of life is that we have that ability is to be whoever we want to be.
If you
And
see it, you can be it.
yeah, exactly. So
Yep.
yeah,
I mean, can I tag team on that? I want to just say that
absolutely
that reinvention doesn't have to happen just, you know, when something bad happens. You can get
true.
up every morning and be not necessarily something different, but be better. Be just a step, a micro millimeter of a step better than you were the day before. And that's the actual real competition within yourself.
Right.
It's not to reinvent yourself to be someone else or to beat someone else. The reinvention is to be better than you were.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. And I carry my book and I'm like always like, how can I be a better version of myself than I was yesterday? So, and that's important, especially when you're, you know, striving to be and do amazing things. You have
Hmm.
to have that mindset of like better version myself. So, yeah.
I like that. That should be on a t-shirt. Them 3 words.
Oh, I didn't come up with that. I wish I did. I wish I did.
Sounds like it's already on everything. Coffee mugs,
I
everything.
think it is. I'm pretty
That's
sure it
so
is.
funny. That's so
But
funny.
anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of What's Going On Colorado with Ryan and I. And I wonder if there's anything else that we should leave them with. Do you want to leave them with something?
I mean, I don't know what else I got. I've told you everything. I don't know what else I got. Just be kind, man. Be kind to each other, man. It's rough times right now. Everybody's going through something. Be kind, even when they don't want you to. Don't scare people when they're like, "Hi, Ryan." You know, my neighbors keep speaking to me. They haven't spoken to me the whole time I've been here, but I don't know why all of a sudden everybody's speaking to me out here in Colorado. But that's great. Just don't scare people with it. Be kind to everybody and just try to push happiness on people, man. We need to keep that going.
Absolutely. And thank you
Yeah.
guys for tuning in. And remember to continue to laugh, and we will catch you in the next episode.
Next time.